Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy GMike Perez, aka GMike, and back with another episode of the G Perspective. I know it's been a little while since I dropped a little something, but a lot of work been going on, baby. This week, bringing on an old guest, Andrew Charles, to talk about his two favorite squads. One is the Atlanta Falcons for the NFL, bringing in Kirk Cousins, and we talk about that whole situation. Then we talk about the Orlando Magic and the NBA and how they're the fifth seed going into the Eastern Conference playoffs and how we feel about that situation. Before we get into it, please follow me on my socials at GMike Perez on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at GMikeMedia_. The audio version of this podcast is available on all podcast platforms under the G Perspective and on YouTube as well. And if you're into sports gambling, I run a Telegram channel called The Degenerates, where we charge $5 a month to give you $5 to $10 to $25 to $100 of daily winnings. So if you're into that, hit me up on one of my socials, slide me in the DM, and we'll get you on and popping, baby. But let's get into it and let's get this show started. Andrew Charles, aka Drew, is in the building with us today. What's up, baby?
What's going on, sir?
What's up, man? Looking good, kid.
Appreciate it.
How's life treating you right now?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. It's been working and chilling.
Yeah. I mean, you got like 5 different jobs. You're a dad. You're a husband. You making all this money. You're doing all these things, man. So I appreciate you giving me your time, bro, and especially during the middle of the week.
Nah. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to talk about your two favorite teams. One in the NFL is the Atlanta Falcons, and for basketball, it's the Orlando Magic, which are making great progress right now going into the playoffs. But before we get into that, we have a couple rule changes that are going on in the NFL right now. And a lot of people have a lot of controversial to it, so I wanted to get your opinions on it. But we'll go off the first one for now, which is the no hip tackle rule, which means it bans a defensive player from using a swivel technique to tackle an opponent. A violation will result in a 15-yard penalty and could ultimately result into player fines. So we were talking about it a little bit before, just trying to discuss what the tackle is. And basically is a defensive player cannot tackle an offensive player from the hip, trying to bring them down with all their body weight. Just knowing and you viewing some videos, because I know you were looking at some videos before we started on the tackle itself. How do you feel about this new rule change?
I feel like it's one of those tough things. Like, it almost seems like a routine tackle. You're like, you grab somebody, you bring them down. Most likely, you're going to grab them somewhere, chest to knee, which puts you right around the hips or whatever. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's a lot of money involved and all this kind of thing. Like, you just kind of want to keep people safe. Like,
yeah, of course.
You see like a lot of these big injuries from things like that. And it's like, can we prevent this a little bit better? I don't know if this is quite it, but they got to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. No, I hear that for sure. And like with me, it's just that, we know what the game is. And especially the players, the coaches, everybody that's involved in the game, from Pop Warner to high school to college to the pros, they know what they're getting themselves into, right? And we do as fans appreciate the fact that they're trying to be more safe with the game, because you don't want to see players going crazy after having concussions, and then next thing you know, at 45, 50 years old, dudes are committing suicide, unfortunately, and all this crazy stuff that is happening. We don't want to see that. But again, as fans, we want to see the same game that we've been growing up to love to see. And if you're taking away certain aspects of the game that changes the game ultimately, it's tough for fans to actually agree with that. Would you think so?
Yeah, I feel like it's hard not to be on board with a lot of like the concussion protocols and like a lot of those things that really just mess it up, especially like quarterbacks and stuff like that. And so you're like, yeah, we gotta kind of do something about that. But when you start like kind of getting that, like, all right, now let's start looking out for this and for that. It's like, all right, yeah, this is a different game than I grew up with. I mean, it's definitely a different game now. You watch like highlights from like early 2000s or the 90s or something. It's just guys just getting laid out all the time, and you're kind of used to that. And I get it. We can't really see that kind of stuff anymore because, like you said, it's taking a toll on a lot of athletes. However, sometimes you don't want to see it like completely taken away either. Like, man, I don't want to just see flag football either. Like,
exactly
what happens to the NFL if it kind of starts to push towards that way? Like, all right, now no more tackling the quarterback, just a two-hand touch on the wrap them up, but keep them up or something. It's like, all right, well, what are we watching anymore?
Yeah, it's not the same NFL that we've seen as kids. It's not the same.
So I think it's hard to know where the happy medium is. I don't follow a lot of like the foreign sports as much, but I'd be interested to see like what rugby's doing for like their players and stuff like that. Is it kind of just like hey, this is our sport and this is what we do, or are you seeing a lot of those same like safety protocols being taken place there? I guess like I don't want to see the NFL just become another sport, but at the same time, like if it's something like that, maybe it would be like, all right, you know what, maybe this is a bigger issue that I'm missing, and I see what they're doing, or like, all right, maybe we're just babying it, and all these players are worth like, I know it's an owner suggestion, or not a suggestion,
owner rule change. Yep.
So it makes you wonder, like, how much of this is really about like player safety, and how much of this is about like I just lost some dude that I paid, $50 million for the season. We're not doing this.
That's a great point right there. That's a great point. Yeah, and I feel like it has to go a little bit towards wanting the offense to score more points in the game, because like with the next rule that I'll bring up in a little bit, it kind of alludes to that too. It's just like they want to see more scoring involved, and you see that in the NBA as well. Like they want to see more scoring and less defense being played, because there's more excitement in offensive scoring than there is on defensive plays, defensive tackling, or defensive scoring in general. So I kind of, I kind of feel like we're both on the same page in the fact that, yeah, we agree to player safety and we want to make changes to player safety. But with this rule right here, it just kind of just like it ultimately goes to the fact that you're just trying to change the game too much. And again, these players know what they're getting themselves into, man. Like, it's a rough game. You're going to get hit. You might get injured any given Sunday. Like, it comes with the territory, and sometimes you just got to let it be how it be. Now, the head hitting rule that they made a few years back, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think you should go head-to-head collision. That right there is like running your head into a truck or a big-ass refrigerator. Like, you don't want to see that happen. But when it comes to hip tackle, when a dude is trying to just make a play on the ball and not get that offensive player's head involved, or even try to do some crazy unsolicited play, like they're just going at the hip, trying to bring the player down and go on to the next play, it's tough to take that away from the defensive player.
Yeah, I think like you said, like you're not allowed to hit the head, which I fully agree with. But now you can't go below the hip. You're giving somebody who's got full protection of their whole body, but you have this tiny window to kind of like make something move. I mean, you see it all the time where like a running back stiff arm somebody's helmet and their head's fully back, full face mask, but they're the running back, so they're good. But you've got to try to like, hey, I only got this small window to get in through, and they're doing it. It's almost like when you're going up against somebody bigger than you who's like clearly stronger than you are, but then they're getting mad at you for using all your force. Like, oh, why are you going so hard? And it's like, dude, you're bigger than me. What do you want me to do? Like,
you especially see that on the basketball court too.
Yeah. I was like, hey, take it easy. And it's like, dude, your half strength is stopping me fully. Like, I have to at least play at that level, which is me going all out. Like, what do you want?
Exactly. That's a great point. It's tough, man. It's tough. But we'll talk about this next rule right now. So the second rule that they have implemented is a new kickoff rule. which means the kickoff will start from their own 35-yard line. The 10 players from the kicking team will line up on the opposing team's 40-yard line. The receiving team will have at least 9 players line up in the setup zone between the 35-yard line and the 30-yard line. No players, except the kicker and returners, can move until the ball is received by a returner. So it's kind of like if you've seen a little bit of the XFL, and right now they've merged, and I think it's called the UFL now.
Yeah.
But basically, if you've seen that, it's kind of exactly like that. I think they took their rule and they implemented it into the NFL. With that being said, how do you feel about that rule change specifically?
I think I feel like we've gotten to the point now where every kickoff is a touchback. It's like, oh, you kicked it out of the end zone or you kicked it into the end zone. Just everybody just kind of lets it go. Mm-hmm. So you're not getting that many kickoffs to begin with.
Yeah.
So if it will allow more kick returns, I like it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, I'm kind of like I would rather just, hey man, take the ball out on 25. Like how you played growing up. Like, hey man, walk, y'all take it out over there.
Right. Save some rest.
If that's what's going to happen anyway, like let's just do that. Like, why even have the kickoff anymore? So I would like to see how that affects the game. Like, move. I missed where you said the kicker is going to be kicking from, but like, let's move him back to where it's in play every time. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that way, like, we actually get some of these kickoffs. I understand the point of like not wanting them to collide at full speed. You got a returner coming in as fast as he can. You got the defense who was lined up pretty far back. Now they're coming in at full speed. A lot of collisions. I get that aspect of it. Let's try to get them a little bit closer so that they're not hitting at full speed. But I would like to see more returns. I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he brought up a good point that if you could eliminate a lot of these injuries on these kickoffs, it might lead to Tyreek Hill starting to do kickoff returns again. Like somebody like that where you're just like, yo, I want to see this guy kickoff return. They're like, no, we're not putting him out there for that. We're like, hey, if he's not going to get injured, hey, let's give this a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I totally agree with that. That would be awesome to see. And I think essentially that is why they implemented the rule, to have more kickoff return, either for more yards or for touchdowns, essentially.
Yeah.
Because the players, like you said, they won't be starting off so far away from each other, so the velocity of their speed going downhill and actually making contact with another player does result to a lot of injuries. So that's going to be shortened because they're only going to be 10 yards apart. And they can only move when the ball is received. So if that means that if the ball gets received and no one is moving, a second before the ball gets received, no one is moving. Once the returner gets the ball, initially, like if you put it all into slow motion, the returner is going to be the only one moving for like half a second because everybody's going to react after that.
And he gets a running start at it.
Exactly. He gets a running start. So he's gonna have essentially better outcome to break off into a touchdown zone. And then the last person that will be able to try to tackle him will probably be the kicker. So maybe the kicker's got to be training on learning how to tackle more.
One of those like Jankowski tackles.
Yeah, right. That'd be crazy. But I think it'll be good for the game. I think this rule will be good for the game scoring aspect, more offensive scoring, special team scoring. I think it will be good for the game. I think with that rule, they're going in the right direction of trying to make it more exciting because, like you said, like we've seen so many touchbacks in the last few years that it's like, what's the point of doing it? For that, just score. All right, you got the ball here. Go on the 25-yard line. Like, that's it.
Check the ball downfield and be like, pick it up. Start from that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it'll be good. Just take a look at the NFL though. Your Atlanta Falcons, they got a new player in town, and it was one that I had foreseen. They were trying to have it happen last year with trades, but it didn't end up happening because he got a season-ending injury. And I'm talking about Kirk Cousins. He has signed a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, his season ended early in Week 8 of the NFL regular season. And there's a lot of things that go on with your team right now, but just sticking with Kirk Cousins himself, how do you feel about him being your starting QB1?
I mean, I'm not mad about it at all. I think it would be nice to see like a little bit more established quarterback back there now, and kind of seeing what he can do with some weapons. I don't think he is going to do a bad job, especially over the past couple of years, where it was kind of just like that was like the fall off position. I know this past year between those two guys, it was just kind of like, all right, whatever works, but you're kind of just relying on the running back more than anything. Like, I think he had something like 60% of the offense ran through him or something ridiculous like that. So it'd be nice to like, hey, you know what? We got, was it London and Pitts and things like that. Let's see if we can get the ball out to them a little bit better and make something happen with them. So I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah. I'm excited for you guys because I definitely do think that you guys were probably like a top 10, top 15 offense with your receivers, tight ends, and running back positions that all you really need was a quarterback. And now you get in a quarterback, Kirk Cousins, who was having a career year until he got injured. That's the only thing that kind of pauses me right there is the fact that he's coming off a torn Achilles. And a torn Achilles is not what it was 10, 15 years ago with all the technology that we have now. The recovery process is way quicker than before, and they come back way stronger than they would back in the day. So it kind of levels out a little bit of the worriness, but I'm still kind of worried because you don't know what Kirk Cousins you're going to get. You haven't seen how he's going to perform after the injury, of course.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you think that he'll overcome this and keep playing the way that he was playing and maybe even better? Or he's going to have to like slowly creep into it?
I mean, I think if it was somebody like a, I don't know, what would be like, like if we were talking about like the Ravens or somebody like that, where it's like, all right, this guy's super mobile. What's his Achilles going to do to him? I'd be a little more nervous, but like, you know what? He's going to throw the ball. He's going to do more of these things. You want him to be a little bit mobile, but it's not like you had an all-star scrambler to begin with. So I'm like, you know what? If he can stay in the pocket and throw the ball, like I'll be happy with him. And if he has to get away here or there, I think he'll be okay. He's always got the outlet to Robinson or whatever. So I feel like he should be good. I'm not too worried about that in that sense. And like I said before, like it'd be nice to just see like, I think this is probably the best quarterback we've had since Matt Ryan. So it'd be nice to like see somebody back there that can like kind of spark the offense again.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that's a good point that you bring up the scrambling because like when you look at his player props, sometimes they'd be having him for 1 yard rushing. So for sure he's not one of those. So that is a good point. Him being a pocket passer. He definitely. I think he can overcome it, man. I think it's all in mind. I saw him. I don't know if you saw him on the quarterback Netflix series.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you get a chance to watch that, it's a pretty good series. It's him, Patrick Mahomes, and
Mariota, right?
And Mariota.
Mariota was with the Falcons.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But when they would show Kirk Cousins, he showed that he has a great mindset for all of this. Like they showed him, he was the practice dummy for that Netflix series because he was getting hit 24/7, man. I'm talking about left and right. He had bruises all over his ribs and everything, getting massages and all of that. Not the Deshaun Watson massages, but he was getting massages. But he showed that he was good mentally, right? So I think that if he carries that going into your squad, I think you guys are going to be a great team. I think your defense was like top 10 for like the first 5-6 weeks, and then after that it depleted. But I think, in my opinion, it was because of the fact that you guys didn't have a quarterback, and you guys weren't scoring, so the defense was out there so much that they get
Yeah,
tired.
it was rough to watch sometimes. You're just like, oh, we look good. No, we don't look good. Never mind.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's tough when your defense is playing 70% of the game, dude. You're gonna get
you
tired.
don't make it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you're gonna
gotta
get tired, dude.
give them a break.
It's rough. But with that being said, and all those weapons that you have on offense, now you get a quarterback, a Pro Bowl quarterback, multiple years Pro Bowl quarterback. Do you guys think that you'll win the division? Do you guys think that you'll get into the playoffs and you'll be good and set for the NFC?
I think we gotta be. I mean, I was watching like the last, the second to last game this year. Granted, I mean it was a rough season, but it was like the second to last or the last game. It was still like, hey, if we win this and they lose that, like we're pulling this off, and it was going to be probably below 500, but it was still like there. So I don't know. I don't remember seeing anything super crazy happening with the other teams. I know the Bucks they kind of stayed the same. They brought back Baker Mayfield. They brought back Mike
Evans.
Mike Evans, and so I mean they didn't get better, but they maintained. I don't remember hearing much about the Saints or the Carolina. So I'm like, I feel like if you look at the teams, we probably made the biggest jump when it was already almost like a three-way tie to begin with. So I feel like that's got to be a good thing. I feel pretty confident about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that you guys have improved in the offseason. I still think the Bucks are there because I believe that the Bucks, like, even though they got 5 returning players, but they did get a new offensive lineman, but they lost one, so it kind of evens out. But I think that their veterans coming back is actually good for Tampa Bay. I think that they can still be on the climb. But with you guys getting Kirk Cousins again, like you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Brian Robinson, you got Tyler Azier, and now you bring in Darnell Mooney. Like, your offensive weapons are really up there, bro. Like, I really think that you guys can be a top 15, top 10 offense with adding Kirk Cousins to the mix. Him being so accurate with his passing, and he loves to throw to the tight end. So I see Kyle Pitts getting a 1,000-yard season this year, probably with like maybe 10 touchdowns. Like, he could probably do a lot of work. And then with your defense, you lost 2 defensive linemen, but you brought one in, and you lost a corner, and you brought 2 safeties in. So I think it didn't get worse, but I don't know if it got better. We got to see how it plays out. But if you guys are still maintaining the same level of how you were playing defensively, I think you guys are going to be on top. I definitely think that you can win the division, no doubt.
Yeah, I would love. We got to watch London get a lot of big plays last season, but I mean, there was plenty of games where it was just like if Pitts had 3 targets, that was like a big game for him, and it's like I would love to see like him just have like a big year, because like it was such a big thing when he got drafted. Like, man, this is like almost like a big wide receiver at the tight end position. Like, this
Exactly.
guy's gonna be special, and I feel like he hasn't had the quarterback to really let him show off his highlights.
Yeah.
So I would like to see what he can do with a quarterback that's actually looking for him now.
Yeah, because it was Mariota, obviously Desmond Ritter, he was behind, and then
Heineke.
Heineke. But who was his rookie season? Who was a quarterback for you for his rookie season, which was 2 years ago, if you remember?
Wasn't that Mariota?
Was it?
Yeah, because this past year was the 2, Ritter and Heineke, and then I think that was Mariota, and then I think before that was that Matt Ryan, or was it somebody else in between there?
Matt Ryan was in the Colts. He was in the Colts, and then he played for like a few games, and then they took him out, and then he came back. Damn, I can't remember who was the quarterback for Atlanta.
I feel like it was somebody smaller though, but I can't remember. I don't.
Yeah, me either. I can't
Yeah,
remember either. Yeah.
If I heard the name, I'd be like, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, probably. But what I do know is that it wasn't someone that's gonna get Kyle Pitts the targets and the yards and the touchdowns that he needed. So definitely Kirk Cousins is a very big upgrade for Kyle Pitts this upcoming season. Definitely. But yeah, man. No, you guys are looking good. Excited for you guys to get Cousins. But the last thing that I wanted to ask you before we move on to the next topic was, were you considering someone else to be the QB1 than Kirk Cousins?
I didn't have like we're getting this guy. I was definitely like, you got the two options of like, do you want to take a chance with somebody or do you want somebody well established?
Yeah.
And I was probably a little bit more in the was it Justin Fields camp?
Mm-hmm.
The Bears.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'd like to see what he could do. It would definitely change up the style of, the direction we went for sure.
Yeah.
But I was like, I like this guy. He's young. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. I think he's from Atlanta or something like that. So I was kind of pushing that way, I guess. To be honest, I didn't even think about Kirk Cousins until I heard it. I was like, oh, all right, yeah, that works too. I'll take that, I guess.
I'll take that, yeah. So, anything but Ritter.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, yeah, I don't need this one. I mean, I think they flip-flop back and forth like 3 times last year. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, yeah. You got that many changes at your quarterback spot, you're not making it.
It's not looking good.
Yeah.
And like you said, you guys were only one game out of the playoffs. I mean, you would have won the game and you would have got in.
Yeah, that was...
yeah, one of my sportscasting peers, he's an Atlanta Falcons fan too, and he was like trying to bring in, like saying it so many times, trying to bring in Justin Fields, and I get it, because scrambling quarterback, he's young, he's only going to be in his 3rd, 4th year, he has a lot of potential on the rise for sure. Like, I even thought that the Bears should have kept him, but everybody thinks that Caleb Williams is going to be this elite quarterback, which I think so too, but I don't know about fresh out the gate. But no, seeing Fields in Atlanta would have been awesome, and especially if he's from there and the way that he carries his swagger and stuff, I think it would have been great for the Falcons, really. But maybe they didn't want to make the trade, and maybe they just wanted to give Kirk Cousins 180.
That was a lot.
That was a lot, right? It was a lot.
Dude. I was like, okay, I guess, yeah, let's do this.
Maybe 110, but 180?
I guess they just probably several teams need a quarterback, and you just one of these like, hey, we're not taking any chances. Let's make sure we win this.
That is true. That is true.
You don't want him thinking about it like, I got a slightly better offer here, but that's a better team. Like, hey, man, just sure up his decision. So
no, that makes sense. Actually, that makes sense right there. What you're saying, for sure. You don't want to let something go, and then next thing you know, you're like, "Damn, we could have had him, bro," but we didn't want to pull the trigger. You got too greedy.
End up with a Shaq case, where it's like, probably should have gave him the $100 million.
Yeah, facts. But where you guys didn't mess up, and I'm not talking about the Falcons, but the Orlando Magic. Where you didn't mess up is the first overall pick where you guys took Pablo Banchero, because there was rumors that they were going to go Jabari Smith Jr. And Jabari Smith, he's not bad, but he's not Pablo. And when I was first coming out, I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. I really think they should go with Pablo. This guy is already NBA ready, 6'10". He's a big, massive body. He's like 230, 235. Like, dude, that's pretty big in the NBA.
Yeah.
And, bro, and then you're comparing it to Jabari Smith Jr. Yeah, he's 6'11". He grabs a lot of rebounds. He could shoot threes, but he's he's a skinny body compared to Pablo. I don't know. And you guys made a great move with that.
Nah, he's been playing great. And, I mean, the second season has just been better. I think he's jumped up. I think he was, right at, 20 last year. I think he's been flirting with 23 this year.
Yep.
He's been playing really well, shooting well. He gets to the basket. I'd like to maybe see him follow through a little bit better. I feel like he gets to the line, and I'm like, all right, cool, you got to the line. Let's see if we can turn a couple of those into and ones a little bit more often.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, he's been playing great. You could see he's just maturing. It looks like he's only going to keep getting better, which has been making, Franz play better, which is making, just the team look better in general. So I've been super happy about it.
No, yeah, it's dope to see, and especially that now I'm a Orlando resident for a few years now. It's dope to see because, man, I could go to a playoff game over here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys are the 5th seed right now. If the playoffs would start today, and you would play the New York Knicks in the first round, you guys have not made the playoffs since 2019, 2020 season, where the NBA bubble that you guys went up against the Milwaukee Bucks and lost in 5 games. So it's great to see that you guys are back. Your defense, for me, in my opinion, is top 15, maybe even like on the brink of top 10, but it's up there. The only thing that I don't like is the offensive inconsistency. Like you said, Paulo's playing great. France is another one that's playing great. But when it comes to everybody else on the team, they're just too inconsistent for me. And specifically speaking, Jalen Suggs, he's trying to be the number 1 guard on the team right now. He's trying to lead the way, but sometimes he's wishy-washy. He's iffy. And another one is Cole Anthony. I would even probably throw Jonathan Isaac in there because with him, it's just like, can he stay on the court? Can he be healthy?
Yeah.
So just with all of that, how are you feeling about the Orlando Magic being the 5th seed going into the playoffs?
I like it. I think, I don't mind being there. You drop back a little bit. Now all of a sudden you're looking at like the Bucks or Boston a little bit, and that, you're gonna have to see them eventually, I guess, if you're doing well. But I'm not too worried about the Knicks. I'm not too worried. Like I wouldn't mind watching them play the Knicks. I wouldn't mind watching them play the Pacers.
Yeah, you'll
might be a little
Pacers. I think if you guys
I'd be a little
Pacers,
nervous. Right now, it seems like we would be at like the way they look. I was like, we should on paper we should be okay, like against the Heat. But man, you let Jimmy Butler get rolling, and all of a sudden it's like a whole new team. Just like, wait, this isn't the team I saw yesterday. What happened?
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that one, but I like it. I think making the playoffs for this young team, I think is going to be big. All these guys are relatively young, shy of like Joe Ingles or whatever. But I think it'll be a good experience for them. I think, I don't expect for them to go all the way or anything like that. But, if you can get a little run in the playoffs and kind of just get some playoff experience, I think it's going to make a big difference for next year. I think we got to get like Jonathan Isaac playing like a solid 20, 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think that just when he's on the court, like it's just defensively, it's completely different. It's just, when it's 10, 12 minutes, it's just not enough for him to make his impact. So if he can stay healthy, I think that's going to be big. And, I think Suggs, he does his thing. Like, I think he's calmed down a little bit. Like earlier in the season, he was super aggressive, which you like to see, but it was like almost too much. And now he's kind of getting into it. He gets his steals, he makes his plays. But he also is settled into the game a little bit, and I think that's been good. So I like it. I even enjoyed when Anthony Black was started. Because he was just good on defense. I think at one point we had like the tallest starting 5 in the NBA. From point guard to center, all those guys are basically like 6'10". The point guard, shooting guards were like 6'5". It was like, all right, yeah, this is great. You got Franz and Paulo at 6'10", whether it's Carter or Jonathan Isaac. Those guys are 6'10", 6'11". So it was just a big team that can move well, and it was like, yeah, we were doing good on defense. And then that middle season kind of fell apart, but I feel like they're kind of getting back into the swing of it. I wouldn't say they're quite where they were come, pre December or whatever it was, but they're definitely kind of getting the ball back to where they were and getting a lot closer. So it's a good place to be going into the playoffs.
Yeah, in the last 10 games, you guys are 7-3. So that's good momentum right there, rising. Because I can't say the same thing for the Heat. Motherfuckers, man. Frustrating, bro. Frustrating.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. It's good to see, and you guys how you're moving in a positive direction. Just speaking with the first round right now, if you would play the New York Knicks, realistically speaking, your analytical take, who takes it?
I would feel a lot more confident if we could slide into the fourth spot.
Take the
Steal
home court
the home
advantage.
court advantage. Now you're playing 4 at home versus 3 over there. But I like our shot against the Knicks. I think we could do something against the Knicks.
Yeah.
So I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, I do like your chances a lot. The only thing that I would say, and even though you guys have great chemistry, the only thing I would say is that the Knicks have better chemistry and better offensive consistency. That's the only thing that I would take away from the Magic right now. But the defense is immaculate. So, like, it can even out. They just got to want it as bad as the Knicks do. Because I know the Knicks want it. Because the Knicks have been trashed forever. Bring in Jalen Brunson. Now they're doing really good. Julius Randle comes back. He's going to be hopefully healthy for the Knicks. If he doesn't, that's going to be a crazy impact right there to the series. But just speaking on the Magic side, if you guys are very consistent on offense going into the playoffs and then throughout the first round, and you keep that same defense, even though you guys are young, I still think that you can pull it off if you fix on those two things for sure.
Yeah, I like I said, like you said, like I think the thing that helps and hurts us is that I feel like they're a little bit more well rounded, and so you well rounded sounds great, but if one person's off, it's like, hey, we needed all those points from you. Like we don't have, when you got that superstar on your team, it's like somebody could really take off. Like, all right, you know what? I'll score 40 tonight. Don't worry about it. But when it's like, yeah, I need all you guys to be in the teams, and somebody's missing, it's like, oh yeah, that just made a big difference for us. And so I feel like, as well as like Paulo does and stuff like that, I don't know that he's quite ready to just be like, hey, I got this game, don't worry about it, and he's going to go drop 35 throughout the series, or 2 of the games in the series, and really just make that big difference. Like he's going to get used 23, and maybe you get one that's like a big game, but that makes it a little bit more difficult. And when everybody's firing on all cylinders, it's great. Mm-hmm. But when one person's having that off night, or 2 people are having that off night, it really shows up, because you don't really have that guy that pulls the slack. Like, all right, I got it back, don't worry about it. So when you have somebody like Brunson, it's like, hey man, we're gonna keep giving you the ball, make this happen. We'll just do what you need. And I don't know that we're there yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone has to step up and do that for you guys. And I think eventually it'll be Paulo, because he could bring the ball down the court. He's not a great handler, but he could bring the ball down the court if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So eventually, hopefully we would like to see that, bro. And I really think that he just made his first All-Star appearance this year, sophomore year in the NBA. But I think in 5 to 10 years, man, I think he's gonna be a superstar. What do you think?
Yeah, and once that happens, I think then it's like, all right, cool. Hey, we have him. We're good to go. Now you have this big guy that dominates for you, and you're like, hey, we can put the game on his back and not have to worry about it. And I think, like I said, he's a year or 2 away. Like you're gonna see, like if we can make it to like the second round come next year, like he's gonna be a lot more confident. Like, hey, I got playoff experience. I've been in an All-Star game, maybe been in 2 All-Star games. I know what I'm doing here. I got this. I've been around the NBA long enough to know what I need to do. Give me the ball and let me do my thing. And once that happens, I think that's going to be a big, like an even bigger momentum swing for the Magic.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we do know for sure they're making playoffs, bro. So if you come up here to watch a game, holla at me, because I'm out there.
I'll let you know.
I'm out there.
Yeah, definitely. Like I haven't been to the new arena yet. I went to some games. They hadn't built the new arena yet once I left Orlando. So I went to the old Amway Center or whatever it was. But this new one, I've driven by it half a dozen times, but I've never actually been to it. So I've been dying to go to a game. So a playoff game would be a cool one to go to.
Yeah, it's super nice, dude. It's like it's huge too. Like from the outside, it doesn't look big at all. Like I was
Yeah.
super surprised when I went to the first game there. When I walked inside, I was like, dude, this humongous, bro. It's huge.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that big, dude. Crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, because the old one was big. Matter of fact, I graduated inside the old one. So like I remember going there. I remember going to the games there. But this new one, it's just like you see all the glass and everything. And It's just like a whole nother like vibe. Like you're like, man, that place looks kind of like a place you want to be versus like those old arenas where it's just like, oh yeah, they do something inside. That was like a convention center or something.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, whatever. So
that's how I felt when I went to week 1 Commanders against Jaguars last season, not this past season, the year before that. And when I went to the FedEx Arena, you walk in there and it's just, dude, like, not to be disrespectful, bro, but that shit was trash. Like literally, it just looked like dirty, run down. Like it didn't look like somewhere that you wanted to go to and have an experience.
Yeah.
But this past December, I went to LA to visit one of my boys, and we went to a Rams game. It was like the third or second last game of the season, and we went to that new stadium, bro. Amazing. If you ever go to LA, try to go to that stadium because it's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I've seen. Was it the Soul Life?
Soul Life? Yeah.
Yes, that one looks really nice. I've heard a lot of good things about the Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I've been to Raymond James. I think Raymond James has that whole ship in the background going for them.
Cool.
They got the pirate ship here or whatever. Yeah. But other than that, like when you're standing on the outside, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, it's big stadium, like Coliseum looking kind of thing or whatever.
From the inside, it looks completely different for sure.
Yeah. So it's cool. Like now you're getting some of these newer ones. As long as the owners pay for them, I like to see them look nice. So stop putting them on the cities.
Yeah, literally, bro. You got millions of dollars. No, not even billions of dollars. You can't be out here. One thing that for sure that they need to do is put grass on all the damn NFL fields. I don't understand how you have all this money and you can't invest in grass.
That's been like a big thing now. Like they've really been pushing for that. Like the players are like, yeah, we don't want to play on this turf. And I know the big time I saw like a big push for that was the women's soccer team. They were complaining like, yeah, we always have to play on these turf fields, and like you just see their legs all bruised up and scraped up. And it's a huge thing, and it's just like, that if being like a track guy, we love the turf. Like I was like, yo, man, I take off my shoes, I'm gonna go run on this. It's gonna be great. But the bottom of my feet touches it, and that's it. I never had to worry about anything else. Like you see, like it's just basically like carpet, and it just tears you up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's like you don't see it, or no, you do feel it. I'm not gonna say you don't feel it, but when you don't see it at all when you're playing on cleats like soccer, football, whatever it is that you're playing on that type, like the bottom of the cleat gets stuck in the ground for at least like half a millisecond, and that is way too long than what it is compared to grass because it doesn't get stuck at all, and it just it could mess up a ligament. That's why you see a lot of torn Achilles, or maybe someone has an MCL tear, and it's horrible to see.
Yeah, man, I would like to see like just kind of do away with it, because even like even like these domes, they're putting grass in there. I know it's a big deal because like the field gets carted off and carted back on and all that kind of stuff. But it makes a difference for the players, and like if you're really gonna talk about player safety and things like that,
exactly.
make the effort and switch these things out to grass.
Exactly.
Hey, man, you do about player safety. You really do about player safety.
Yeah, for real though. Like, don't try to be like, yeah, we're about player safety, but only to a certain extent. No, man, like, be about player safety or don't be about it. One of the
exactly. Not just whatever benefit. Like, oh, you know what? If we did this might lead to that. So let's try this, or we won't lose as much money here. Like, let's do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Thanks. But hey, appreciate you, man. Before we get out of here, guys, where you can follow me on Twitter at GMike Perez, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at GMike Media _. The audio version of the podcast is available on all podcast platforms under the G Perspective. And if you're into sports gambling, I run a Telegram channel called The Degenerates, where we charge $5 a month and give you $10 to $25 to $50 to $100 a daily winnings. So if you want to get up in the chat, get some sports slips going on, just DM me, hit me on one of my socials, and we'll get you started, babe. But Drew, appreciate you, man. You know I'm gonna have you back on in the season, in the playoffs. Actually, we'll see how you guys are doing against the Knicks.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, bro.